His Excellency Salva Kiir Mayardit, President of the Republic of South Sudan, the Vice President of Burundi, His Excellency the Vice President, and the Honorable Minister representing President Paul Kagame of Rwanda, the Secretary General of the Community, government ministers, officials, Their Excellency the ambassadors, all the distinguished persons and partners from the private sector, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I am very sorry about your suffering. I can see that you are all sweating, and this is thanks to the poor organization by the Ugandan group. They are always determined to inconvenience our visitors. I don't know for what reason. So they bring you in this Kafunda here. Kafunda is a squeezed place. And then they make sure that the air conditioning doesn't work, or something works very badly. We could have done better if we sat outside and just enjoyed Lake Victoria breeze. And really, this will be the last time I will tolerate these Ugandan officials who habitually inconvenience our visitors with poor arrangements, because the air conditioning should either be, the doors are not properly sealed, so the air conditioning is going out, and you say you have got protocol officers, you see them moving up and down. So I'm very sorry about all this, because they are really spoiling your holiday, working holiday on Lake Victoria. I welcome you all to this East African Community Heads of State retreat on infrastructure and health financing as part of development. On behalf of the government and the people of Uganda, I extend a warm welcome to all of you and invite you to enjoy the hospitality of our country in spite of this suffering with you. Colleague heads of state and invited guests, this joint retreat will serve two purposes. First, at the fourth retreat on infrastructure development and financing, where we review progress on the implementation of the priority projects agreed upon in the third retreat held in November 2014. Secondly, at the first retreat on health sector financing and development. So there are two meetings in one. One is to see how far we have gone with the infrastructure, and again now add on the issue of health. Allow me to cite a few notable major ongoing infrastructure developments in the region, such as the implementation of the flagship standard gauge railway, of which the construction of the Mombasa-Nairobi section in the Northern Corridor is complete and operational, while the construction of the Dar es Salaam, Morogoro, Mwanza, Dodoma on the Central Corridor is ongoing. Other major undertakings are construction of the East African crude oil pipeline the development of the Lamu Port, South Sudan, Ethiopia Transport Project Corridor, among others. Within Uganda, we are getting ready to first of all repair and start using the old railway lines to Malaba from Kampala, to Pakwach from Tororo, and to Kasese from Kampala. Even using the old line to Mombasa is cheaper than using the road. This poor economics by our planners is amazing. This road transport is a money eater. We used to have what we are calling the man-eater of Tsavo, a lion which was eating people when they were building the railway. So these roads are money-eaters. With the standard gauge railway now in Nairobi, it costs US$ 5 cents per metric ton transported on the railway compared to US$ 15 cents per metric ton transported on the road. I'm always very suspicious of these figures given to me by our unserious staff. But you go and check. They are now saying, yeah, I don't know whether it is true or not. That even if we use the old railway to transport a ton from Kampala to Mombasa, it will cost us 5 American cents instead of 15 American cents if it is transported on the road. So that would mean it is 3 times more costly to transport anything on the road compared to transporting it even on the old railway. With the completed standard gauge railway, the rail transport will cost US$ 8 cents, $8 per metric ton, compared to 21 cents per metric ton on the road. Now I don't know why both of them go up now. You see, that's why you need to be very careful with them. Because now with the new railway, both, according to these people, both the rail transport and the road transport will go up. But it doesn't matter. You go and do thorough work. The point is clear that road transport, even to these inefficient people, that road transport is more expensive than rail transport. There is also the use of the lakes. Lake Victoria, Narubare, that's what we call it in our language here. Choga, together with the Nile. Lake Albert, Nitanzige, that's on the border with Congo. Lake Edward, Butumbi, Ruchuru, that is on the border with the Congo again. And the River Kagera, through Chaka in Tanzania, to Shunjezi in Uganda, a mere 30 miles short of the Rwanda border at Kachitumba. So this huge lake is just sitting there and utilized for transport. Because you can come by rail to Kisumu, and you go by water all the way up to near Rwanda. And as you know, water transport is cheaper than the rail. The rail is cheaper than the road. The road is cheaper than the air. Therefore, if we have got planners and foreseers, those who see ahead, surely we should be able to see this. From Mwanza, you can reach any of these points in Uganda. Start with Bukoba in Tanzania, Bukakata near Masaka, Port Bell, Jinja, Majangi. So the lake is there. There is Lake Albert, Mwitanzige on the Congo border, together with the Nile, and Lake Edward on the other side, and the Kagera River and the Nile River. However, when we are dealing with the railway, electricity, and ICT backbone, we must ensure that the final price of the utility is competitive, because those elements are dangerous cost pushers. I know in Africa there's always a fashion of one thing or another. In the 1960s, there was a fashion about what they were calling integrated rural development. So they would go on in the universities. That's what they would be teaching. In the seminars like this one, then that one they forgot about it after some time. Then it become now education. Then now, I don't know, every time they are bringing up a new unidimensional perspective. Life is not unidimensional. Life is multidimensional. You cannot deal with one angle and you think you will succeed. Now this talk of private public is now the new talk. Private public partnership, Papa. PPP, they even make it short so that you. That one must be anchored on the strategic plans. And especially for the three items, the railway, the electricity, and the ICT backbone. These three. The others I don't mind. For the roads I don't mind. If you build a road with the road tolls, as long as the cabueras have their own small road where they are squeezing, the cabueras are the ordinary people. I don't mind if the rich people pay high tolls on the toll road. That's what I don't mind. Siwajali yao. Kama watake kwenda kwenye toll road waende kwenye ile ingine. Kila moja anachagua anachotaka. But for the three, the railway, the electricity, and the ICT backbone, we must make sure that the final cost, in the case of electricity here in Uganda, I am insisting that the cost per unit must not go above 8 cents, American cents. Even that is a bit high, But if we can get the cost of electricity at 8 cents or less, then what I've told these Ugandans is that for manufacturing, they must access electricity at 5 cents. Then for the discos and the night dancers, those ones, they can pay 9 cents. House Wajah now. If they don't want, they go home. What is their problem? But for the manufacturing, it must be 5 cents if you are going to be competitive, or even less. Because if you don't do that, we are just joking. We shall now miss another 50 years, like we have already missed the 50 years which passed since independence. Now that is for the electricity. The same for the railway. Whether we use private, whatever you call it, public, the result must be the same. Low cost of transport, low cost of electricity, and low cost of internet. Because now that high cost of internet is stopping our children doing what they call BPO, business processes outsourcing, where our children can be here in Kampala, do audit work for the Americans, and then send the work over the internet. Now, if the internet cost is high because of PPP, because of so therefore, with that caution, high electricity, transport, and the internet costs will not allow us to industrialize our countries or to be competitive in some of the services areas. Therefore, the cost of money and the structure of ownership should never be allowed to interfere with this strategic aim. We had this dam which we built with this PPP, Bujagari Dam. We had negotiated previously with some other group, very patient. I was involved myself. And we had agreed that the final price must never go beyond 4.9 American cents. Now that original group had some problems, it didn't continue, so my people got another group. For some reason they excluded me. They said my presence was undesirable. So they went and agreed and concluded. I was very happy. Bujagari Dam was built, it is now running. But when I said, what is the cost per unit? 11 cents per unit, even with the subsidy of the government. Without subsidy, 13 cents. How could you agree to this? And what is the cost pusher? What is pushing this cost? Why is it so high? One of the reasons for pushing the cost is the cost of money. Because these people, the developers, went and borrowed expensive money to be paid back quickly, but also with a high profit margin for themselves. So I asked these wonderful people who were involved, commissioner, I don't know what, permanent secretary, expert, I don't know. How can you be expert in doing a shoddy work? So please, in the three areas, in the case of Uganda, this game is finished. We shall not accept any arrangement of high transport costs involving the railway or the water transport. The road, optional. So if you want to be expensive, I have no problem. That is for the rich people who want to shed off some weight. But for the railway, for the water transport, the cost must be down. For the electricity, and for the internet, the cost of the internet. The region is also moving forward on trade facilitation through the harmonization of the vehicle load control and operationalization of the one-stop border posts. We will open yet another crucial border post of Malaba on Saturday, as planned by our ministers. We have also made good strides on the EAC One Area Network, and the implementation of the cross-border ICT infrastructure is critical for the attainment of a unified market in communication services in East Africa. I'm gratified to note that Kenya, Rwanda, and Uganda have implemented the EAC roaming framework, which has considerably reduced on the telecommunications charges for the East African citizens. I urge all the partner states to embrace this initiative for the benefit of our people. The transformation of the EAC customs, the transformation of the East African Customs Union into a single customs territory was a major step in advancing the integration agenda. The community has since January 2014 incrementally rolled out our cargo on the single customs territory. I am happy to report that in December 2017, all goods were rolled into single customs territory. Thus, all goods are entered into the single customs territory once they reach the first point of entry into the community, with taxes being assessed and paid to the destination partner states. I call upon Your Excellencies to continue on the path of connecting our region and encouraging internal investment in infrastructure to boost the facilitation of production and productivity. While the rest of Africa continue to register slow growth, East Africa is the fastest growing region. This is partly due to solving this bottleneck of communication by the investments we make in the infrastructure. I wish to mention some of the challenges, like delays in project delivery caused by the procurement challenges. As heads of state, we agreed on the priority projects across the region, but we do not have in place a harmonized approach of procuring for these projects. This is an area that we could address collectively. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, whereas developed countries anchor their infrastructure development on their strong financial and capital markets, this region lacks such muscle and hence missed the opportunity to access sufficient and cheaper capital. Infrastructure bonds issued through vibrant financial markets have become feasible and profitable investment portfolios for emerging countries in Southeast Asia. We need to embrace this approach in our region as part of our strategy to enable us to realize our long-term infrastructure development goals. Let me inform the Excellencies, in the health sector, the EAC has witnessed a notable increase in life expectancy from 51 years in 2005 to 61 years in 2016. Despite this progress, huge public health challenges still exist. There is a growing burden of non-communicable diseases such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and cancers. High prevalence of communicable diseases such as HIV, malaria, and tuberculosis. Maternal, neonatal, and nutritional complications. Road and other accident-related injuries. Epidemics such as Ebola, Marburg, and even resistance to antibiotics. In East Africa, we need to learn lessons from the outbreak of Ebola that ravaged West Africa from 2014 to 2016, in which over 11,000 people perished, but also investment, production, and travel were severely disrupted. Such outbreaks overstretch the health systems and resources, threaten trade, and slow down the overall socio-economic transformation. We as a region need to strengthen the rapid response mechanisms against health security threats. Ugandans are normally slow in many things, habitually, but at least on the issue of Ebola, I think they are very good. They are excellent there. So that means that their slowness is intentional, because when they want to be fast, they become fast. We have had outbreaks of Ebola about 3 times, but every time promptly they control them. And Marburg about 3-4 times. So they are credit for Uganda, oye. But in other areas, with the current array of technologies at our disposal, there is no reason why we cannot eliminate some of the public health challenges such as malaria, tuberculosis, HIV and AIDS, preventable maternal and child death. These days we are better equipped to deal with the non-communicable diseases and the epidemics. We must therefore deliberately refocus our efforts to address these challenges through increasing investment in prevention, human and technological resources to accelerate progress towards universal coverage of essential health to the peoples of East Africa. As we commit ourselves as leaders to champion the health agenda, I call upon investors and development partners to take advantage of potential investment opportunities such as the high unmet needs for specialized health care of the rapidly growing population. Dealing with the growing middle class and a wide range of potential incentives offered by the partner states. Besides ensuring healthy lives, we expect the health sector to contribute more significantly to the economy through the creation of new jobs, proliferation of innovations, expansion of manufacturing of medicines and health technologies, and medical tourism. The sector should be a foreign exchange earner to the region, the health sector. Some years ago, I advised these Ugandans that, look here, since we had achieved a high level of AIDS infection, why don't we at least economically benefit from the problem? Why do we suffer twice? We have the AIDS, then we lose money. So I said, let's build a pharmaceutical industry to deal with AIDS. And we built it with the Indians. It was a struggle, because even some of our friends didn't want to build the pharmaceutical capacity. I don't know why. But we struggled and we built it. And now that facility is earning $65 million a year, that factory. it is earning almost the same money as tobacco. So in spite of the weaknesses. So these health problems are problems, but they are also opportunities for investment and for economic growth. Your people here from the West, they say, you should not suffer 2 times like Chaco, Makaa, kwa sababu makaa yanakufa mara mbili. Kwanza you burn the tree, it becomes makaa, becomes Chaco. Then you use the Chaco now to cook again. So it has. So they say, we shouldn't suffer twice. We have the diseases, then the diseases cause us to bleed with money. So if we have the diseases, at least let's get money out of the diseases. So that we suffer once, not like the macaw which suffers twice. In this regard, we need to try and apply lessons from emerging economies such as India, whose total healthcare industry revenue is expected to increase from US $110 billion in 2016 to 372 billion by 2022. India will be earning $372 billion from these health problems. Shida za afya wao ni biashara. In response to deliberate investments in telemedicine, manufacturing of medicines and health technologies, medical tourism, health workforce training and risk pooling, health insurance, among others. In order to achieve this, we need to plan in a harmonized way. In Uganda, for instance, we indeed have a nascent pharmaceutical industry producing AIDS, HIV drugs, malaria drugs, hepatitis B drugs, etc. These are, however, still using imported pharmaceutical grade starch and imported pharmaceutical grade sugar. So you see lack of planning by your people. You are making the drugs, but in order to make the drugs, you need starch, pharmaceutical grade starch. That one you don't have. So what do? They import from now, I don't know where. So, because they are importing the starch, because that tablet you take is not all medicine. Much of it is just muhogo. If you process muhogo properly, you will get the starch, which is the grade which can. But they don't bother to do that. Muhogo meja hapa, cassava. So they import now the starch from I don't know where, and now the medicine remains expensive. The pharmaceutical grade starch and sugar, fully refined sugar, not used to carry a chai, more refined sugar, industrial pharmaceutical grade sugar, are needed for tablets, but also for children's medicine, for syrups, for the children. I'm told the drugs would be 20% cheaper if we are using our own pharmaceutical grade starch and sugar. Moreover, apart from helping in the pharmaceutical industry, more refined sugar is also needed in the soft drinks industry. Uganda is squandering US $34 million per year importing refined sugar for the soft drinks. So the Africans really die many times, not even 2 times like that. So the soft drinks, all these sodas you are drinking, they are full of sugar from I don't know where. But you produce sugar here, why can't you refine it more and you put it at least? And your Ugandans, this is why hosting you here, they are losing $34 million each year for importing refined sugar for soft drinks. So that Coca-Cola you see, the only thing you are putting there is water of Lake Victoria. That's the only Ugandan. So they made in Uganda. The only Ugandan thing there is water. Sukari, Niawapi, Sijui. I don't even know the family of Coca-Cola. They have never told us. So this lack of seriousness. And the starches for the medicine, for the tablets, those are taking $20 million. So the other $60 million I'm talking about from the factory, much of it goes back because of the starch which is the important syrups. Then in addition, of course, we donate to India, we the Ugandans, $77 million each year for referrals. So people are going there, $77 million. Africa is incredibly rich, but wasteful. Excellencies, it is my sincere hope that the outcomes of the roundtable reports, which will be presented to the heads of state, will provide avenues and strategies for addressing infrastructure and public health challenges in our region. At this juncture, I urge all governments and partners to reaffirm their commitment to strengthen infrastructure and health sectors, to accelerate attainment of overall socio-economic transformation for the people of East Africa. I look forward to your fruitful deliberations. It is now my singular honor and privilege to declare this East African Community Heads of State Retreat on Infrastructure and Health Financing and Development officially open. Thank you all, and Asante Sana.
Thank you very, very much. Asante Sana, Your Excellency.